Welcome, everyone, to the John Kentera Show, San Diego Sports Talk on YouTube. And, of course, you can follow me on Facebook at John Kentera. You can follow me on X at Coach Kentera44. And hopefully when you do follow us and go on YouTube, you will subscribe. We're doing a great job gobbling up a lot of subscribers. And it really seems like you folks are enjoying what we're doing, trying to bring you the best sports talk in San Diego. And unfiltered, that's one thing. It's completely unfiltered, but of course my shows were always unfiltered anyways. I always was going to say what I thought about what was going on in the sports world in San Diego. We got a lot to cover today, and very excited about the way our San Diego Padres are playing right now. They've been absolutely on fire. They finish up the road trip 5-1, disappointing loss on Sunday, but again, they fell behind. They were down 5-0. They made a go of it. Ended up, falling a little bit short, but nonetheless, Padres playing incredible baseball right now. And, let's take a look at the games in Miami. Really, when it comes down to it right now, one of the things that I am a little concerned about, the Padres are falling behind in a lot of these games. They've had to come back quite a bit. And, that's gonna work once in a while. But again, they've also taken advantage of some of these porous bullpens of Pittsburgh and of Miami. And, let's face it, Padres have some dudes that can flat out swing the bat, and they're swinging it. It's next man up mentality. Really like the way the offense is performing right now. I mean, every time a guy steps into the box, they look like they're ready to hit. They're not, hoping to hit. They're knowing they're going to hit. And really, it's become contagious with this ball club. But you go back to Sunday's game, the 7-6 loss. It was tough, and I know everybody's hot and bothered about whether it was a home run or whether it was a ground rule double by Ha-Seong Kim with 2 outs in the ninth. The umpires got it right. They didn't get it right initially. There's no question that was a tough play. Kyle Stowers, who I remember playing for Coach Mitchell out there at Christian, was a left fielder for Miami, and he went up against the wall. It bounced off the wall, hit off of him, and then he knocked it over. So the umpires got it right, but they couldn't see that initially. And Ha-Seong Kim played it right. Run around the bases, make them bring you back. And, if there weren't for a replay, but that's what we have now. If it weren't for the replay, it'd have probably been a tie ball game. Or maybe they've gotten the umpires together and they'd had to, configure what they saw or what they thought they saw. That was a tough call, but they got it right because of replay. And unfortunately, Luis Camposano struck out to end the ball game. But really, the Padres fell behind. They were down 5-0. Dylan Cease, who only pitched that one inning last Tuesday in that rain delay game, he threw the one inning. Then they went to a 2-hour and 40-minute rain delay. He looked a little bit off. His velocity was down, but, he's still throwing 95 miles an hour, and that's plenty good enough to get major league hitters out. But his command wasn't there. That was a big bugaboo. Normally he'll throw 97, maybe even touch 100 miles an hour, but he was around 95, but that's good. But you got to hit your spots, and he didn't hit his spots. The Marlins jumped on him early. They got 5 runs in the first 2 innings, and it was an uphill battle all day long for the Padres. And you can look at, everything that went on in that ball game. Shane Reynolds coming up. Johnny Brito gets sent down after a good outing on Saturday. Brito will be back. There's no question. He'll be back very soon, I would imagine. But Sean Reynolds, 1 inning, a couple of hits, got tagged for a run. Yuki Matsui gave up that 2-run homer to Jesus Sanchez, which really was a rough one. And Jason Adam continued to pitch well, came in, threw an inning with a couple of strikeouts and looked really, really good. But, offensively for the Padres, they weren't great on Sunday, but they've been awful good. They still pounded out 10 hits. I mean, they're swinging the bat. Luis Ariz, who's been a little bit up and down recently. I know that thumb's been ailing, but he went 3 for 4. Bogart's a 2-hit game, doing a nice job. Peralta swung the bat well, 1 for 4, 7 double, drove in a couple of runs. But they get beat on Sunday in Miami. They finished the road trip 5-1. They were only 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. That was an area the Padres weren't great at in this series against Miami. They were 9 for 43 overall. That comes out to be about a 208 average. They had plenty of opportunities, though. But again, they're playing from behind quite a bit. And then you go back to Saturday's ball game, And, that was a crazy, wild affair. But the Padres, once again, get a big home run from Jackson Merrill to tie the ball game. Padres end up winning the ball game 9-8 in 10 innings. Pounded out 12 hits, 4 for 15 with runners in scoring position in that ball game. Matt Waldron was looking good. I mean, he looked good the first 4 innings, and then he ran out of gas big time in the 5th. Ended up going 4 1/3, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Hit 2 batters, gave up a home run. But, overall, Matt Waldron has done a great job. He's done a great job. ZRA now has gone up to 4. It was well under 3, but those 5 earned runs and 4 1/3 kind of bite you. But Waldron doing a good job. Estrada's been struggling. He won 1/3 of an inning in that game Saturday. 2 hits, 2 earned runs, couple of walks, a wild pitch. He trying to probably do a little bit too much right now. Brito, I mentioned, pitched well, but got sent down on Sunday. 2 1/3 innings, 1 hit, a walk, 3 strikeouts. Looked great. Morahone, an inning, 2 hits, a run. Gave up a homer to Jake Berger. Jake Berger hit home runs in each of the 3 games. Got 22 homers on the year. Robert Suarez for an inning looked good. Tanner Scott came in, got his 19th save. 1 inning, 1 hit there in the 10th inning. Did a nice job. Padres overall, in that ball game, pretty good. Peralta had another big game, 3 for 4, 2 doubles. Rise had a 2-hit game. So the Padres got some things going offensively. Everybody's contributing right now. There's no question about that. And then you go back to Friday night, and, man, another one. Looked like the Padres were going to go down in this ball game, but they come back, and they find a way to get. They're down 2-1 late, and they come back and win the ball game 6-2. 4 runs in the 10th inning. They had 11 hits. They hit the Marlins that night 11-4. Jackson Merrill, what more can you say about this guy? He just absolutely been on fire. I mean, he had 3 big home runs on this trip. I mean, 3 big home runs. He had 2 in Miami, and he had 1 in Pittsburgh. The guy's been amazing. Flat out amazing, getting the job done. No question. And Paul Skeens getting beat the other night by the Dodgers. Who knows? Maybe that'll get Jackson Merrill a few more votes. We'll have to wait and see on that. But all in all, 5-1. Well, let's take a look at some of the numbers for the Padres after this road trip. Record-wise, they're sitting at 66-53. They could play 500 ball the rest of the way, and they're going to get in the playoffs. But I think they're going to play better than 500 ball as long as their pitching holds out. They're doing a great job. Their road record, 36-24. Petco Park record, it'd be nice if they could improve on that. They're at 30-29. They have been playing much better at home recently. August now, they're 7-2. Since the All-Star break, how about 16-4? Padres have won 7 straight series. Can't ask for anything more. I mean, they've come out of the All-Star break and been absolutely on fire. Absolutely on fire. They're back home on Monday night against the Pittsburgh Pirates, a team that they swept last week in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh right now really scuffling in a big way. They got swept over the weekend by the Dodgers. They've dropped 9 of their last 10, and they come to San Diego having lost 7 straight. Padres need to keep the Pirates on that kind of roll, and we'll get into the pitching matchups here before long. Monday night is a very, very big night for, I think, everybody involved with Padre baseball. I think it's no bigger for anyone than Joe Musgrove. Joe's had a rough go of it. You go back to last year. Joe got hurt, missed much of last year. Last year he pitched in 17 ball games. Had 17 starts. He was 10-3 with a 3.05 ERA. His last start last season was July 28th against Texas. He missed the remainder of the year. This year he's been on the IL 2 different times. In early April, and he's been on the IL now for a considerable amount of time. He hasn't pitched in a big league game since May 26th against the New York Yankees. And by the way, that night he was outstanding. 5 1/3, gave up 6 hits, 1 run. It was earned, no walks, and 5 strikeouts. And then he had the inflammation in the elbow, the bone spur. Bone spur's not going anywhere unless you have surgery. But Joe made a couple of rehab appearances, one over in the Arizona Rookie League where he threw 2 innings. and he made one for Lake Elsinore a week ago Sunday up in Fresno, and the numbers weren't good. I mean, they weren't good at all. I'm 3 1/3, 4 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 2 strikeouts. Apparently, he's going to be on a pitch count of about 60, and hopefully he's able to get through the first inning without 25 or 30 pitches, because then you're going to be putting that bullpen in jeopardy, and that bullpen's probably going to be in jeopardy anyways. And after a long flight back from Miami, bullpen was used pretty hard on this road trip. They're going to probably be a little bit gassed, and they're going to want to stay away from some guys on Monday night. But Joe, like I said, they're saying there'll probably be a pitch count of about 60. Well, let's see if he can go out there and get through this outing, and then we'll find out on Tuesday and Wednesday how he's feeling. If Joe Musgrove could come back and be anywhere close to being the Joe Musgrove we know, this would be just an added boost for this Padre ball club. I mean, an adrenaline shot as well. The guy's a great teammate. He's a gamer. He's everything that I look for in a baseball player. A guy that'll hang his head out there and get after it. He's not going to, go down there and feel sorry for himself. He's going to keep battling. Got a lot of respect for Joe Musgrove. I'm glad he's a Padre. And just hopefully he can get back and stay healthy. Apparently, he's made some adjustments to his delivery to try to take some pressure off of that elbow. We'll see how that works. But let's hope as Padre fans that the San Diego boy can go out there and pitch well and come out of it feeling well. So it's going to be a big night on Monday night. Big night. Yeah, the other guy that I wanted to talk about pitching-wise, because I wasn't sure exactly what the Padres were getting in Martin Perez. Martin Perez is a 13-year veteran left-hander. And the last few years, he's been kind of up and down, to say the least, ERA-wise at least. Last year, playing for the world champion Texas Rangers, his ERA was high, but, he won 10 games and did a nice job for Bruce Bochy, but eventually got elevated to where he had to go to the bullpen. You take a look at his numbers this year in Pittsburgh, they weren't good, 2-5 and a 5.20. Last season with Pittsburgh or with Texas, as I mentioned, he had a 10-4 record, but a 4.45 ERA and got shipped to the bullpen. So far with the Padres, he's looked great. And like I said in our last podcast, I'd much rather have a veteran out there toiling on the mound, a guy that can mix and match and move the ball around. And, you'll kind of look at the guy that you're pitching against, the guy on deck, the guy behind him. If you're in trouble and you pitch around maybe the veteran guy, and then you get that guy that just been called up, or a rookie that, might be struggling a little bit, and you take advantage of him being maybe a little bit over anxious. I remember when Fernando Valenzuela pitched for the Padres, he used to do that. He used to drive Bruce Bochy crazy. He'd get the bases loaded, and then he'd get that guy up from AAA, and he'd get him out on his front foot, and the guy'd hit into a 4-6-3 inning-ending double play. Martin Perez has done a really good job, and I'm sure the more he pitches here in San Diego, the more him and Ruben Niebla will develop a relationship. But so far, Martin Perez in 2 starts, he doesn't have a record yet, but in 13 innings, he's given only 6 hits. The 3 runs he's given up have been all home runs, but he hasn't been walking guys. He's got 2 walks in 13 innings and 13 strikeouts. So Martin Perez paying early dividends for A.J. Preller and the Padre Ball Club at this point in time. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the pitching matchups in this series with Pittsburgh. Again, Pittsburgh comes in at 56 and 61. They're in last place right now in the NL Central. Just a week and a half ago, they were battling for a wild card spot. As I mentioned, they've lost 7 straight coming to San Diego, swept over the weekend by the Dodgers. They dropped 9-10. And the Padres got them 3 times in their ballpark last week. Monday night, 6:40 first pitch. Left-hander Marco Gonzalez scheduled to go for the Buccos, 1-1 and a 4.54 ERA. Padres saw him last week. Padres going, as I mentioned, with Joe Musgrove. Joe on the year 3-4 and a 5.66 ERA. And making his first start since May 26th. Tuesday night at 6:40. Right-hander Luis L. Ortiz, 5-2 and a 3.40 for the Buccos. Padres will counter right-hander Michael King, 9-6 and a 3.34. And the final game of the series, final game of this brief 3-game homestand will be on Wednesday afternoon at 1:10. Pittsburgh will send a veteran right-hander Mitch Keller, 10-6 and a 3.56 to the hill. and he will go against the left-hander Martin Perez. Overall, Perez now 2-5 and a 4.78. He'll be making his third start with the Padres. All right, as we sit here on a Monday after a big weekend of baseball, let's take a look at the National League West standings to start with. And the Dodgers, they had a big weekend. They've been scuffling. But what's interesting about the Dodgers, they're going to get Mookie Betts back on Monday. He's been out, of course, with that fractured hand. He's coming back on Monday. Max Muncy's down in Oklahoma City rehabbing. And they did lose River Ryan, that good young right-handed pitcher, over the weekend to a season-ending elbow injury. And he's a former Padre farm product. Padres signed him as a pitcher shortstop, eventually went to the Dodgers. They made him into a pitcher, and the kid got to the big leagues. But you take a look at the Dodgers right now. They sweep the Buccos over the weekend. They're 69-49. And what's interesting about that is everybody's talking about what's wrong with the Dodgers. What's wrong with the Dodgers? Well, what's wrong with the Dodgers? They still have tied for the best record in the National League at 69-49. They're tied right now with the Philadelphia Phillies that also have that record of 69-49. With the loss yesterday, the Padres, they drop a game. They're 3.5 games back of the Dodgers, along with the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks have been absolutely on fire. I mean, they're playing just like the Padres right now. Seems like they're winning on a daily basis. But both teams, 3.5 games back. The Giants, they're 61-59. Bob Melvin's team playing much better baseball right now. They've won 7 of their last 10. They got beat on Sunday, but 61-59. And you got the Rockies at 44-75. Let's take a look at the wild card. Padres and Diamondbacks right now looking pretty good in the wild card. They have a 4-game lead over the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves having all kinds of problems right now. I mean, they're really scuffling. They've dropped 7 of their last 10 and just not playing great baseball. But Arizona and the Padres sitting there, a 4-game lead over the Atlanta Braves. The New York Mets had a rough weekend up in Seattle. They got swept. They're sitting at 61-57. Half game back of the Braves right now. And then you got the Cardinals. I keep waiting for the Cardinals to make a real move. They're at 60-58. The Giants 61-58 or 59. A game and a half back. And don't rule out the Cubs. I don't think the Reds have it. I don't think the Cubs have it. But hey, the Cubs, they get to 500. You never know at 59-60 right now. But right now, the Padres and Diamondbacks looking pretty doggone good. They're looking pretty doggone good right now. Okay, let's take a look at and recap the Aztec Fanfest over the weekend. And if you were at the Fanfest, make a little note on our message board and tell me what you thought. Now, I can tell you this. Apparently, you had to go online to get tickets. And apparently, people went online, and there were about 8,000 tickets distributed. Kirk Kenney from the Union Tribune, who covers the Aztecs, said there were about 2,000 people there. And they were on the east side of the stadium where it was bacon, which I don't quite understand that. But, hey, it is what it is. You want to go, you can stand under a palm tree or wear a ball cap or bring an umbrella. But the Aztec fast offense, they got some work to do. But they got time. They don't play again at Snapdragon until the 24th. Okay? Or I should say I backed that up. Yeah, the 24th, they've got the game against Texas A&M Commerce. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a big, big ball game. I got to check on that date. I think I'm off on that date. I think it's August 31st. I wrote down so many notes. I think it's August 31st. But nonetheless, they got some work to do. They scored 2 field goals in the first half. And then they scored 3 touchdowns in the second half. 1 by passing, 2 by running. Hey, it's going to be a work in progress. I had a gentleman, Austin in El Cajon, who's a big listener. He goes, Coach, what do you think the Aztec record's going to be for in football this year? Well, what do I think it's going to be? I would hope it's going to be a winning record. I mean, first year, new head coach, a lot of new players, new coordinators and all that. I'd take 7-5. I know people would be disappointed, but you got to walk before you run. 7-5 would be great. I'd much rather see 8-4 and a winning record in the Mountain West Conference and get to a bowl game, even if it's a minor bowl game. Who cares? Get to a bowl game. Get the Sean Lewis career going here in San Diego. And again, yeah, that game is August 31st. I remember I'm supposed to go to 2 parties on August 24th. I'm not a big party guy, but hey, you know what? When you get called by good people, you go to their party. Aztecs got work to do. There's no question. I understand that. I think you need to understand it. And I think we need to be patient with this new coaching staff. This guy's a good coach. He's a really good football coach. Now, they're going to have to obviously get their offense in check. In the defense, they got a lot of new parts on the defensive side of the football. Not sure exactly where they're going to go. Now, defense looked pretty good on Saturday, but again, they're going against an offense that's trying to get their bearings and figure out exactly what their identity is going to be. So we'll wait and see, but I'm looking forward to being at that game on August 31st. Very much so. I enjoy Aztec football a great deal. I had the opportunity to call their games for many years as a color analyst, and prior to that, I was a sideline reporter and always pulling for the Aztecs. I want to see them do well. Absolutely. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the Olympics. First of all, I thought France did an incredible job. Now, I'm sure there'll be things that come out after, well, this wasn't right, or this was off, or whatever. Overall, just from this viewer's opinion watching, and I watched a lot of Olympics. It was really cool. You know, for 30 plus years, it was hard to really focus day in and day out on the Olympics because I was, involved with Padre baseball or doing a talk show every day. This year, it was like a vacation. I got to sit there and watch hours of a variety of different sports. And I thought France did an incredible job. It looked like the venues were really cool. The performances were just off the chart. It doesn't matter what sport. I mean, they were all off the chart. And I was so excited. And, obviously being a kid that grew up in the United States, you pull hard for all the U.S. athletes. And boy, they were incredible. I mean, they were incredible. They ended up with 40 gold medals. They tied China with 40 gold medals. The U.S. total, 126 medals, 40 gold medals, 44 silver medals, 42 bronze medals. China, they had 40 gold medals. They had 91 total, but the U.S. far and away the most medals at 126. I'm very much looking forward to the Olympics in 2028 in Los Angeles. I saw the mayor came out and said that it's going to be basically you're not going to be able to drive around Los Angeles during the Olympics. Everything's going to be public transportation. We'll see how that works. That'll be interesting. They got a lot of work to do, but I know that they'll do the best they possibly can. And obviously, from what we saw in the closing ceremonies, they're going to have a lot of the stars involved in that. But overall, I would give France an A+. I really enjoyed the Olympics. And the other guy that I want to give an A+ to is Mark Ziegler, who's been a longtime contributor to my radio show. Mark was over there doing a marvelous job covering the Olympics. I mean, he's such a well-versed writer. Of course, you Aztec fans know him well because he does Aztec basketball. But, I mean, the amount of information that he was able to dispense, whether it was on the UT website or in the daily paper, amazing. He must have been working morning, noon, and night over there. But congratulations to Mark Ziegler on a great job. And we're used to that with Mark. I mean, he's been doing this a long time for the Union Tribune. And he does. There's no better guy that I've ever read that covers the Olympics than Mark Ziegler. So a job well done by the Union Tribune and Mark Ziegler on that. Okay, we're going to get ready to close this thing out a little bit. And again, I apologize for that mistake on Aztec football. But August 31st at 5 o'clock, Snapdragon Stadium, that's their home opener against Texas A&M Commerce. Well, this week, I'm very much looking forward to seeing if the Padres can keep it rolling. They got a ball club that's coming in really reeling, very angry ball club. But again, the Padres got to be ready to go. And they can't have a little hiccup and drop 2 out of 3. They're off on Thursday, by the way. And then they go in for a brief road trip, 3 games in Colorado. And that can be exhausting. Padres are playing a lot of baseball right now, but they're home Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Monday night, 6:40. Tuesday, 6:40. Wednesday afternoon at 1:10. Off day Thursday, and then 3 games in Colorado. Again, I would thank you very much for tuning in, and I'd appreciate it if you would go to YouTube and subscribe. The John Kentera Show, San Diego Sports Talk. And again, you can follow me on Facebook at John Kentera and on X at Coach Kentera 44. Let's hope next time we talk later in the week, the Padres have kept it rolling. Until then, have a great weekend, everyone. And thanks so much for tuning in.